In this quick demo, I'm going to show how JPad can be useful for users of the JSoup library. First, I download the jar file and I move it to the special JPad lib folder. So it's program files, time stored, JPad. You'll find an lib folder, well libs, which you can then place the jar into. This loads the jar when JPad starts up. If I now launch JPad, I'm presented with a new text file that I can execute Java code from. So for example, I'll go to the hello world basic example just to check that it's working. I press F5 and it runs that piece of Java code. So that's for a hello world. There's some examples including Java, Guava. So if I run that, it tries to output it sensibly as a table. Okay, so that's working. I now want to run a JSoup example. So I take the code from the front page of the JSoup website. I press F5 to run it, or click the button, and I'll get a compilation problem. Unfortunately, JPad tries to detect some imports but can't get them all. In this case, document and elements. So I place the imports at the top of the code and it now runs, but there's nothing to display because it's just selecting it. JPad provides a very handy dump function which tries to display in the best way it can whatever is passed to that function. So here it just prints out hello. If we replace hello with the news headlines, it'll try to dig into the collection of objects, and in this case it doesn't make a lot of sense. You can see it's doing a table of a table of a table, and you can kind of see the content is in there. But let's try and improve that. I'm going to use the iterables transform to take each element in the news headlines and only display the text. You can now see I'm getting a sensible result. The benefit of JPad is that we can very quickly change, run the code and view the output. So here I've changed the select to the H2 element, or if I wanted to change the URL, I can easily change the URL, press F5, run the code again. It also provides the possibility of providing the URL as an argument passed into the script. So if I replace the hard-coded URL with arg0, you can see I get the index out of bounds, but I can place the arguments at the top and that runs it with that argument. So I'll now save my file. I'll save it to a temporary JSoup folder as fetch headlines. So here you can see the little JPad file, which if I open a command terminal and go to that folder, I can run that same JPad file from the command line using -args to specify the arguments. I've typed in the wrong page here, so let me go get the correct URL. If I wanted to redirect output from my JPad file to text, I just use the redirect and I get my text file. Which is the same output we saw at the console. We can improve on this slightly. Instead of having to supply the args beforehand when running the program, we can use the JPad provided getArg function, which takes the args, the index position within the args, a title for what you're trying to retrieve, and then the default value. So the default will be from Wikipedia. If I press F5, I've got a slight mistake, which we can see is it doesn't recognize the function name. So I've accidentally specified getArgs when it should have been getArg. You see when I ran it this time, it presents a dialog box. That's because it knows you haven't supplied the argument, so it knows to ask for it. Which if the argument was there, it doesn't ask. I've accidentally selected text, but if I run it now, you can see it knows when the argument is supplied. This works the exact same for the command line. So if I now run it at the command line without an argument, oh, there's been an error. This is because I didn't save the file. If I press Ctrl S, save it, run again, you can now see that it asks me for the URL and provides a default value. If I type in a different URL, it'll fetch the titles from there. The last thing that JPad can help you with is sharing the code. So if I take the code that I have, I select Upload Snip, and I give it a sensible title, description and tags. Now this does rely on being registered on the jpad.io website, but if you are registered and I click upload, straight away I'm taken to the code, the result, etc. all on the website. Upload it with a short URL that you can share with someone else to give them this example code. JPad's available now to download on the website. I hope you find it useful. We're always keen to hear feedback.